about some of the tips that we have for you when you're building your pitch. So I'm going to share my screen. Just 1 second. Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. Anyone give me a thumbs up or just tell me if I'm sharing the screen.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to explain the whole pitch, and then we can go into some of the details about the video that you guys are recording, and I can give you also some tips about the video. But if anyone has any question, just stop me anytime. Open your microphone and ask the question, because I'm pretty sure this the question that you may have, someone else in the room probably will have the same question. So there are no stupid questions here. Each question is valid. So please ask me as many questions. Sorry guys, I don't know what happened. I lost the connection for a moment. Let me just give me 1 second. I'm gonna change my Wi-Fi so I don't have this issue. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen once more. Okay, hopefully this time is gonna work. Okay, so as I was saying, ask me question. I have helped entrepreneurs to build pitches so many times, so I can share some of those tips. Okay, first of all, do you all have access to this template? So it's available on the online portal. If you don't have access to it, let me know. So maybe what I can do, maybe I can later share this link so you can have access to the template. But if you don't have access, maybe write down in the chat, and then we can see how we can help you. Okay. Okay. So let's start. So the first slide in your pitch is the name. Okay, the name of your company, the name of your business, or the name of your team. Okay, so it's already or you're still thinking of, about different modifications or alternatives for the name, that's totally fine. Okay, but try as much as you can to start your pitch with the name. Okay, at least the name. When you're building the slides, you don't need to, if you don't have a logo, okay, you don't have to put it, but it's good to have the name. Okay, someone raised the hand. You have a question? I saw that someone raised the hand. Anyone has a question? I saw that someone was raising the hand. So if you have a question, just unmute yourself and ask me. Okay, maybe it was a question. Okay, I hear something. No? Okay. All right. Okay, so I was saying, if you have a logo, you can add the logo in this slide, but it's not necessary, okay? Try to go for simple logos, okay? Don't go for, pretty complicated and complex, crazy logos, because that will distract the attention of the audience that will be looking at your pictures, okay? Or even if you're doing video or if you are pitching, live to a panel of judges, okay? But if you have a simple logo, you can put the logo here in your main slide. And then if you want to go a little bit beyond, you can put, like a pretty short description of what your business does, which is commonly referred as the slogan, okay? So things. The slogan has to be super short, okay, and usually describes the product, okay, in a pretty simple sentence. So for example, Zoom, right, this platform that now we're using, if you were pitching Zoom, and the slogan could be, video conferencing platform, right, for the workspace or for the workforce, okay, video conferencing for the workforce. So usually what you have in the slogan is either a combination of the product and of the audience, okay, the customer. So but it has to be short, no more than 10 words. It's already too much, okay. That's one way to do the slogan. Another way to do the slogan could be the benefit. So for example, let's say Facebook, right? And the slogan for Facebook could be something like, connect with your friends all over the world, okay? So you are not saying what Facebook is, but you're saying what's the benefit. If you use Facebook, you will be able to connect with friends, with family, no matter where they are, okay? So you can use two variations of the slogan, explaining the product itself, like for example, in the Zoom example, video conferencing platform, or you can say the benefit, which is usually translates into an action, okay, an activity that you can complete, or an action that you can complete after using the product. So that's what you could potentially use in a slogan, okay. There is another way that I've seen the slogans. I don't recommend it, but could help. So for example, if there is a company that is pretty popular, okay, that is pretty well known, you could take advantage of that and use it in your slogan. So for example, once I saw a company that was doing renting places, renting cars, okay? So, no, sorry, it was renting places so you can take your pets, okay? So the slogan was Airbnb for pets, okay? So they were using this other company, right, which is a house sharing company, Airbnb, to kind of explain and to have an analogy so the audience can relate to a company that is pretty well known, so it's easy for someone to understand. I don't highly recommend it because there may be some people in the audience that may not know that company. Okay, that's one, and the other one is I prefer that you start building your brand around your product and the benefits that you offer instead of using someone else's brand. But I've seen that option too. So you can definitely use that if if it's pretty challenging for you to come up with a slogan. Okay, it's great to have it, but it's not necessary. Okay, so I will say is the less important thing to worry about in your pitch. So if you have time, if you're pretty happy with everything in your pitch, spend some time in the slogan, but just at the end, okay? Any other question about this first slide? Okay, so you have questions, just write them on the chat or just unmute yourself, okay? And then maybe from the ESA ONGU team, I don't know if you guys would like to add something in after I'm talking about any of the slides, or just want me just to keep going.
Yeah, I think it's okay, Luis. We don't have anything to add in the slide. Yeah.
Okay. One thing that I would like to clarify is this template. Okay. It has a recommended structure. Okay. But in regards of the design, you know, the colors that you use, the fonts, you have the freedom, all right, to do that. So as long as you follow the structure, you can design as you wish. Okay, so you don't have to necessarily just use this specific template and just add your text, your images on top. Okay, so you can, if let's say you already have a branded presentation for your business. Okay, just follow this structure and complete each slide following the structure, but you don't have to use the same, you know, colors that we have here, you know, the same fonts, the same sizes. Okay, just to clarify that. I don't know if you want to use it, go for it. Okay, so let's go with the first slide. Okay, the problem. This is, I will say, one of the most important ones. Okay, because here is where you capture the attention of your audience. Okay, so you have a couple of seconds to capture the attention. So first you start, you know, pretty confident, you know, with the name of your business, a slogan if you have it, and then 2-3 seconds, and then you go straight into the problem slide. Why this slide is so important? Because the audience need to clearly understand what is the challenge that you're trying to solve. Okay, what is the big pain that you're trying to solve? Okay, what is the motivation behind your solution? Okay, and and if you are pitching, let's say, for investors, you need to show that this pain is a big pain. Okay, because investors don't like small pains. Okay, so there is something that is called, kind of in the jargon of pitching, either you have what is called a painkiller problem or a vitamin problem. Okay, so a vitamin problem is something, you know, it's like vitamins, right? It's fine if I have a vitamin, but I can survive, you know, without vitamins. Or a painkiller, okay, which is, let's say, for example, you know, I have an injury, so I need to fix that right now. So a painkiller problem has a couple of elements. One is big, okay, so it impacts a lot of people. The other one that is urgent. You can have problems, I can have problems, but not all the problems have the same urgency. Okay, so let's say I need to buy a new mattress. Okay, how many times do you buy a mattress in your life? I don't know, maybe 3, 4, 5 times, not many times. Okay, so it's not a problem that is super urgent. Okay, but if you compare it with, let's say, going to the hospital, right? Because I don't know, you cut yourself. So that's a problem that you need to treat right now. So when you are explaining the problem, think about how urgent is that problem for your audience, okay? For your target audience, for your potential customer, okay? And the other thing that you could potentially talk about here is the frequency. How frequent is the problem? Is it a problem that repeats multiple times? Is it a problem that has a pretty low frequency? So going back to the mattress example, it has a pretty low frequency because you worry about buying a new mattress, I don't know, every 2, 3, 4 years, okay? But a problem that has high frequency is transporting from point A to point B. So if you're working, if you are studying, you, like, let's say, not in a pandemic scenario, but in a normal scenario, you need to move from your house to your university on a daily basis. So it's a high frequency because you experience the same problem, the same need every day. Okay, so those things will help you to understand your problem and also to express that problem to the audience. Okay, so try to explain what's the problem, and if you have some insights about the impact of the problem, how big is the problem, about the urgency of the problem, okay, and about the frequency of the problem. And then on top of that, if you can add some data to support the problem, that would be fantastic. Okay, so to give you an example, if you're pitching something about let's say something to reduce the pollution, right? Let's say you're building a device to clean the air. Okay, so that's your solution, and then you can start saying some numbers or some data about the pollution problem. So you can say, I don't know, right now, pollution is affecting the life of, I don't know, 1 billion people, and this is affecting the health. People is dying for, respiratory issues. Whatever it is a problem, if you can add some data into that problem, that will help you to communicate the impact of the problem. How big is the problem? Because when you talk about impact, urgency, and frequency, you're usually adding a quantitative data, okay? So it's fantastic if you can add some data there, okay? Now, there is another way to talk about the problem. If you don't have any data, any kind of numbers to back it up, what you can do is to tell a personal story. Either if you have experienced the problem yourself, or if you have, someone in your target audience have expressed the problem to yourself. So going back to the pollution example, an alternative way to express the problem could be, you can say, and just put a fictional name. So you can say John, it's been in the hospital for the last, I don't know, week, because he had some respiratory issues because there is high pollution in the city. Okay, something like that. I'm just making that up. Okay, whatever story, if there is a real story behind the problem, that can also be a powerful way to capture the attention from your audience. Okay, so two different approaches. One is more human, right? Because you are telling the real experience of a person, and the other one is more into the big impact. So both ways are valid. So whatever, choose the one that you will feel more comfortable. Okay, but if you don't have either a personal story, or data about the problem, because sometimes it's not that easy to find data about problems. You need to do some research, find data online. Just try to explain at least what is the problem, who is affected by the problem. Okay, so in this slide, you also need to talk about the people or the community, the organization that is currently facing the problem. Okay, so this one, I will say, treat this one as the most important one, because if you are not able to express the problem easily, you can lose the audience, because they won't feel connected to your pitch. They won't feel, they won't empathize with the problem. or maybe you are not able to communicate the problem, because the problem for you could be pretty clear. But when you have an audience, that have different experiences, different backgrounds, different knowledge, it could be challenging, right? To make sure you're able to transmit the problem as you know it. So also try to avoid kind of pretty technical words. Depending on different type of industries, you may have pretty complex terminologies or jargon. Try to avoid that as much as you can, because you can fall into the risk of that nobody will understand what you're talking about. Okay. So when you're building the actual slide, try to break it down in three. Okay, so if you can split the problem in three sections, or three elements about the problem, that's kind of the sweet spot. So you don't need to write like a text. Try to go bullet points, 1, 2, 3. This is the problem. This is how big the problem is. Maybe add a number. You have some data, and then the who, right? Who is affected by this problem? So, for example, the slide that you see here has way too much text. Okay, but this is just with some prompts and instructions for you to complete. Maybe what I can do is, let's see if I can find some samples of like pitch decks already completed, so you can use them as reference. I'll see if I can find some good ones, and I'll put them in the platform. Okay, any question about the problem slide? No questions? Okay, all right. Let's keep
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go for it. That was a yes, or that was a no?
Not yet, sir.
Okay, all right. So let's keep going. Next one, the solution. Okay. So the solution. Okay, I can see a question now. It's for me, it's pretty much the same tagline or slogan, but there's in some parts in the world, the slogan is more used is more for marketing purposes. Okay, but the slogan that we're trying to talk about here is the one that describes your product. So, for example, Nike, right? Nike has a slogan that is "Just do it." So if you start a pitch saying "We are Nike, just do it," it won't make any sense, right? So I know that in some countries they use the word slogan for that. It's more for the marketing, more for advertising. Okay, but what you want to put here in your pitch is actually connected to your product or the benefit that your product is adding. So something like that, like the "Just do it" Nike, won't be useful in this type of pitch. Okay. Does that answer your question, Nofian? Okay, all right. So the solution. So you did a great job, explaining your problem in the previous slide. Now what you're doing here is linking the two words. Okay, so now you need to be able to explain how you and your business is solving that problem that you explained in the previous slide. Okay. So make sure if you did like 3 bullet points for your problem, make sure that in the solution slide you mention pretty much exactly how you are solving each one of those 3 things that you mentioned. If you have just one key idea in your problem slide, have one key idea in your solution slide. You have 2 elements of your problem, make sure that in your solution you also have 2 big elements that describe how the solution is solving that specific problem. Okay, so that's the first thing. Now, if here, right, you can explain some of the alternative ways that that specific audience or that specific group of people that is experiencing the problem, if there are some alternative solutions for them, you can do it to give a little bit of more context. Okay. So if I go back for, let's say for I have a problem that I live so far from the university, so I need to move, safely, reliably from my house to the university every day. Okay, that's a big problem. And then let's say you are offering a new ride-sharing company, like a competitor for Uber or for Cabify, for Grab, Didi, any of these companies. Okay, so in the alternative solutions, you can say, we believe that we have a better solution because, and then you can potentially say, currently our customers, they don't trust in public service, for example, or taxis, they don't accept, cash payments or credit card payments, whatever it is. So you can try to give a little bit of more background about the solution, explaining some of the ways that your audience is currently using to solve that same problem. Okay, so that sometimes helps to give context to your audience. Now that works when you are in an existing market. Okay, but if you are building something that is, it's a radical innovation, there may not be anything like that in the world right now. Okay, so it's a little bit more challenging to find the alternative solutions, but sometimes doing nothing is a solution for a customer. So you can say, at the moment, our customers, they don't have any way to solve this problem. So we are bringing something completely revolutionary, new to the market. Okay. Bet heavily into that factor. Okay, that your customers have no way to solve this right now, and you are the only one who can solve the problem for them. So okay. All right, I thought that was something in the chat. Okay, no. So any question about you're getting the attention from your audience with the problem slide, then you are showing how they see like a list of specifications. The most important elements of the problem. Okay, so as simple as you can. Okay, don't go crazy explaining everything, all the Now, I have seen some people when they.
Hello, Luis. I think you have problem with your connection.
If they have a finished product or a prototype, sorry, I heard something.
Yeah, I missed you several seconds. Yeah, it looks like
okay.
you have problem with your connection. Yeah.
I'm having some connectivity issues. Apologies for that. So
But
what I
it's
was
okay
saying that
now.
here I've seen pictures where if you have a product already finished or a prototype, you can show pictures of your product, or if go out, take a little bit of a risk, you can show videos, okay, of your product. I don't if it's good, it's showing a video is good if you have a lot of time or if you practice a lot, because sometimes that can go wrong. But if you are doing the video pitch, if you have like the real product, show it. Let's say you are pitching, I don't know, a new headset. Okay, so you can, while you are pitching, you can actually show the headset, and then the people who will, they can see the product. That's something like a maybe don't try to show the screens of the product, because I've seen pitches failing for that. Let's say they have a link and they jump into a demo of the product, and then the demo fails. So that kills the cadence and the flow of the pitch. So if you would like to show something about your product, make sure you practice a lot, and make sure if it's links, if it's videos, it's perfect. So you don't kill the flow of your pitch. All right. Any questions about solution? Oh wow, I need to speed it up because I have 15 minutes. Okay. No questions. All right. So this slide, which is the contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals from United Nations. So if you are not familiar with this here, okay, what you would like to describe here, how that solution, okay, is going to contribute to Sorry, guys, I think I lost my internet for a moment. Let me
now can hear
go. Let me go back to sharing. Okay. Okay, let me know if you can see the screen. All right, so this slide is pretty much linked to the previous slide. And what is the impact of your solution to solve any of the Sustainable Development Goals? Okay, so it could be one of many of the goals that you are addressing with your solution. Okay, so you actually need to go into this link and see all the goals and identify which one of those your solution is actually helping to improve. Okay. So it could be, it could be poverty, it could be water and sanitation, it could be literacy, whatever it is. So when you're putting the slide together, you can bring, and then maybe you can add an image, so you can convey in an easy way what's the impact that you're causing. Okay. This slide is when you are building your video, because the video is only 2 minutes. Okay, so you this one you will skip it. Okay, but when you're building your pitch, so the pitch includes all the elements, but for the video, you don't record this one. Okay, so for the video you just record the problem, the solution, value proposition, the team, and the revenue streams. Okay. Now we have value proposition, okay? So the value proposition is, you can look at the value proposition.
Hello.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I don't know what's my internet today. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. You were disconnected for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually don't have this problem. Let me just. I will say if something happened with my connection, what I will do is I can record myself going through all this explanation again. You know, if for some reason my internet completely fails, and I can upload that into the platform. Hopefully, it's not going to happen, but that will be the backup plan. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if my internet is going to work now. Okay. So the value proposition. All right. This one is an extension of your solution slide. Why? Because here what you're doing is describing either the benefits, okay, of your solution. So that means what is the gain? You know, what is the thing that you are adding to the life of people, right? By solving that problem. So that's one approach. The benefits. So the benefits could be, satisfaction, comfort, safety, reliability. Okay, so those are things that you can offer. You know, those are things that someone can get after using your product. Or another approach is to mention about the pain points, you know, the challenges, the difficulties, the problems that you are solving with your solution. Okay, so you can go with kind of a positive kind of language, talking about the good things that people will get, or you know how you are removing, let's say, bad things from people experience. Okay, so always when you're doing value proposition, never do the sorry, stop sharing here. In this slide, don't talk about technical features. Okay, talk about what is the impact that anyone using your product, using your solution, using your service, whatever you offer, what happens after they use your product. So think about that. Think about that for a moment. Okay, think about that person before using your product, and then think about that same person after using their product. How is your product changing the life of that person? What is your product adding to the life of that person? What is your product, you know, removing from the life experience from that person? Okay, so always think about the value proposition about that, you know, the change. What are you changing into the experience of a person? Okay, so if you think about that, it's easier to think, to put together the value proposition. It's easy to break it down and to being able to explain what is that you're bringing, right, to the life of people. So value proposition is all about the people that you are solving a problem for. Okay. And then there is a tool that is called the value proposition canvas. Okay. That actually talks about that, right? The pains and the gains. So you can use that tool. It's a framework that you can answer some of those questions, and then you can put together your value proposition. When you are recording your video, because it's just 2 minutes, it's pretty short, and you need to talk about 5 elements. So if you kind of go through all the elements in your value proposition canvas, you can easily spend 5 minutes there. So you need to be able to explain this value proposition in 20 seconds, 30 seconds, less than that. Okay, because you have 120 seconds, you have 5 elements plus the star, the name and the slogan. So let's say 6 elements. So you need to be able to try to spend 20 seconds in each one of the elements. So be good, go with pretty simple ideas here. Don't try to explain the whole value proposition canvas, because you will spend the whole 2 minutes. Okay. And then another thing that if you can do here to complement the value proposition is to explain how what you offer is different from those alternative solutions. Okay, so let's say, for example, if, going back to the ride sharing example, so you can say the value that I'm offering to people if they use my service is, reliability, because they can rely that the car will be available for them whenever they want. Safety, why? Because we offer peace of mind for people, that they can get from point A to point B without any risk. And then if there is any other alternative, right, you can use that to compare. So you can say unlike, or different to, let's say, public transport, where people, where I don't know, people doesn't feel safe because X, Y, Z. Okay, so you can do that link. Okay, you can actually use this slide to also compare to the things that alternative solutions are offering for your audience. Okay. Okay, I saw something in the chat. Let me see. It is making it very easy to understand. Yes. What Semerdanta is saying in the chat is it helps. Okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was a different person.
Yeah. It's to respond the question, what if you don't have the tagline or slogan? Well, basically, it's okay. Yeah, basically, there's nothing wrong with that. But using the tagline or the slogan is to make the jury or the investor easier to understand what is your business all about. Yeah. So it is also to promote the core value or the value proposition of your business idea. Yeah. So that's the purpose of the tagline or the slogan. Yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Louis, or add something. Yeah.
No, you're right. You are 100% right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yeah, that's the value proposition. So this one, you need to add it in your video pitch. Okay. So this one is important. Okay. And then we got the lean business model. Okay. So here, okay, when you are those 9 elements. So you already have some of those, right? You already have the
Mr. Danta, I think it's freeze again.
Yeah, yeah. Hello, Luis. Reconnecting. Hello, Luis. Yeah, hello. So you are back.
oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe it's because it's late at night. Right? Everyone in the building, is now at home using the
I see.
internet.
Luis, probably it is better. Probably you will have a better connection if you do not turn on your video. Probably just use the
Okay,
voice.
I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, just use the voice and yeah, share screen with the slides. It's okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So okay. So here, complete those 9 elements of the list of the lean business model. Okay. But when you won't do this for the video, but if you are selected for the second stage and when you are pitching, so don't do the problem again, the solution again, the value proposition again. So I will say just maybe focus here on your revenue streams. So that's how you're making the money, and maybe some of your costs. Okay, so you don't need to go through all the 9 elements because it will take you so long to cover all of them. But if you do revenue streams and costs, that could be good here. Okay. All right. But if you can manage, your time, to when you are doing like the second stage pitch, if you have extra time, go for more elements in the lean, but at least minimum cover the revenue streams and the cost. Okay. Okay, next one is the market. Okay, so this one is also, I think I got something in the chat. All right, I keep talking about the slogan. Okay, so the market is pretty important because this one helps to understand how big the problem is. Okay, so remember in the problem slide, you already offer some insights about the impact, right, and about the urgency of the problem. Here is you are expanding into that. Okay, and why is this important? Because investors don't like small markets, so that's a reality. At least the traditional type of investors. If you pitch in front of social impact investors, they not necessarily care about a big market. They will care about how you contribute to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So they have different motivations. They are not motivated by, the economical return of investment of your solution. But if you are pitching, to raise money, to get funding, they will care a lot about this. Okay. Why? Because investors, they don't invest in you because they like you. Okay, they invest with you in your business because they can get a return. And the bigger the market it is, the bigger the return they can get. Okay, so keep that in mind. For when you are pitching, who are you pitching for? Okay, so you will need to adapt this according to the audience that you are gonna pitch. Okay. Let me see. I think I got something in the chat. I want to ask a question. You said the same. Oh, I just wonder how you order the elements and more primary. Okay, so they are asking about the elements when I'm talking about the video, right? The video pitch. So you are building your pitch deck, following the entire structure. So you have all your pitch deck because you are also sending your pitch deck. Okay, but the video, okay, the video is is pretty much the face of you and the team. Okay, and that's what the panel, the judges, they want to see. Okay, because they can receive all the files, and pretty much all the files tend to be, pretty similar and all the same. But when you are delivering the pitch, you can show your personality, you can show your confidence, you can show your knowledge about the topic, you can show your creativity. So it's like giving your own flavor to the pitch. Okay, so but it's just 2 minutes. So in 2 minutes, it's impossible to deliver all the slides in this pitch template. Okay, so you just need to record 5 elements, plus the intro slide, which is the name. So that's what I was saying, 6 elements. Okay, so those elements are, the name, the first slide. Then you have the problem. Okay, then you have your solution. Then you have your value proposition. Okay. Then you have, so from the lean slide, right? You are just doing the revenue streams. Okay, how you're making money. And then the last one is the team slide. Okay, so those are the elements. Now, my recommendation is you can change the order if you want, but my recommendation is always start with the problem. Okay, so always open up with the problem, then always go next with the solution. Okay, because it's linked, it's directly, this is my problem, this is how I'm solving the problem. Then go with the value proposition. Okay, so I will say those 3, don't change the order in those 3. And then the last 2 ones, you can change it if you want. It's all right if you go with the team first and then with the revenue streams, or just use the standard format. Okay, but that's my advice. I don't think you will be penalized if you go into different flow, but it makes much more sense to tell a story, to tell a consistent story if you first explain the problem, then how you're solving the problem, then the benefits after someone uses our solution to solve their problem. Okay. Okay, I think I saw another question. Jessica, will be okay if we include the slide certificate for the buyer persona pitch deck, but then it will be more than 20 slides in total? You can, if you want. So for example, you could potentially add that in 2 different places. One could be in 3 places, I will say. one could be in the problem, because in the problem you talk about the who, right? Who is affected by the problem. The second place where you could potentially add that is in the lean business model, because one of the boxes is actually customer segments. So you can expand into the description of your target audience using a persona, or here in the market. So when you're doing your explaining the market, you can say this is my typical customer, and there are, I don't know, 100,000 of these customers in the country or in the world. Okay, so you could potentially use it. It's not necessary. If you have a pretty solid understanding of your customer, go for it, because that can add value. But when you are pitching, okay, just go with the highlights, top 3 characteristics about your persona, and that's all. Don't go to everything. Don't go to all the motivations, all the goals, all the frustrations, because that will be way too much. Okay. Now here in the market, okay, if you can, there are two ways to explain the market. Okay, one is what that is called the bottom-up approach. Okay, and the other one is the up-bottom approach. So the up-bottom approach is for example when you say there are 7 billion people in the world, and then there are 3 billion men in the world, and then in Indonesia there is I don't know 2% of that. I'm just making up numbers here, right? Of that 3 billion, and then our solution is going to capture the 2% of that. Okay, so that's the up bottom. So you are starting with a the how big the market is, and then you are kind of break it down and reducing your market until you say, I'm planning to capture just 1% of my market, and that represents, I don't know, $1 million per year. Okay, that's one approach. Then the second one is the bottom up. Okay, so the bottom up starts from the opposite. So you can say, this is my persona, okay, and I have interviewed 100 people that fits into that persona, okay, and I got 90% of them, they express that they have this problem, and they are currently paying for alternative solutions, so they have the capacity to pay for my solution. Okay, and then you can say these 100 people, I thought it just in my neighborhood, and then in the city, in my local city, I can have, I don't know, 1,000 of people that fits my persona. But in the country, I can have easily, I don't know, 10,000, something like that. So you start, from the small scale, and then you kind of start building up. Okay, so I've seen those two approaches when people is explaining the market. Both of them are valid. My recommendation is you can use a combination of both. Okay, so don't just rely in one approach. I know that the up button is the most common, because what people try to do is they try to impress the audience, or they try to impress the investors with big numbers. Okay, so when you say 3 billion and then we'll capture $1 million per year, so that sounds like a super big market. Okay, but then the investor will ask, okay, it's a big market, now how are you planning to capture that market? Okay, so the way how you answer that is when you do the bottom up, okay? Because you already know there is so much people here that fits that persona, so you already started talking to them, so you know where they are, you know their motivations, you know that they have expressed the interest, so you have a good understanding of the market and how to get potentially to that big market. Okay, so if you can try to do kind of a combination of both approaches. Okay. Okay, I got Jessica asking me, is it necessary to include the detailed calculations for the bottom up? It's important to show your logic behind the calculations. So try to add some type of numbers here, even if you're using bottom up or up bottom approach. I personally prefer the bottom up because that shows that you are already engaging with the market, because it's pretty easy to do the up bottom because you can just do some research right online and find some data about the problem. So that's, anyone can do that, but actually, going out and start talking to people, doing interviews, collecting data about your market, that has, for me, that has much more proof that you are closer to really understand the needs of your customer and solve those problems with your solution. But yes, if as much as you can, as you possibly can, try to add some calculations, not very detailed, but some logic behind your calculations. Okay. All right. And then this one is, you can combine, if you want, this one with the previous slide. It could be just one slide that is called market. But if you have, data here that you can show to expand into your answer, you can talk about this, right? I have talked to this amount of customers, or maybe you're already selling some of your products. Maybe you're getting people paying for your product, okay? But only if in the previous slide, you cannot add that information, have this extra slide. Otherwise, you can easily have, both things in the previous slide. Why we added this slide? Because this is the one that, if you decide to use the up button in the previous one, only that one, then in this one, then you have to try to use the button up, okay? So somehow you need to show that, you have some idea how to get into that big market, okay? So even if you haven't started talking to potential customers, you need to at least explain the logic, okay? So who is my persona? Who could potentially be my early adopter? How am I going to get to them? Is it, through a digital channel, to a physical channel, whatever it is. So it's important when you're building your go-to-market strategy. Okay. All right. Oh geez, I don't think I have much more time. So I'm gonna try to go super fast. So then we go to the competitors. Okay. So this is connected to the previous one. Okay. So in the previous one, you're saying, this is the market. This is how big the market is, or this is the potential we have into this market. Now then explain, okay, are there more players into the market? Okay, most of the times the answer is yes, okay. But with the exception that is you are a revolutionary product that has never been built in the past, so you are creating a new market. If that's the case, you can just say that here, right? Nobody else has ever built this, so I have no competitors. But it's pretty hard to do that. Okay, so try to add some information about the competitors here. So you do need to do some research, to understand your market, and try to understand who is building something similar to what you're building. They may not be the same technology, the same, product, but they could try to solve the problem in a different way. Okay, so it could potentially be a direct or or indirect competitor. But if there is any organization, any individual, any institution trying to solve the problem that the customer is experiencing, even if it's not the same type of solution, you can consider them as a competitor. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is how you are different. That's the most important thing. How you are different to those competitors. Okay, how do you differentiate yourself from those competitors? So they could be many things, right? So for example, you can say, one of our team members, has worked 5 years, 10 years in this industry. So we have a lot of, market knowledge. That could be a way, that you could use to differentiate yourself from a potential competitor. Or you can say, we hold the intellectual property for this technology. That's another way to protect yourself from a competitor. Or you can say, we have, an advisor who is an expert in the field, or an investor who is an expert in the field. That could be a way to protect from your competitors. Or you can say, we already have paying customers. The satisfaction, is 90%. So that's a way to defend yourself from competitors. Okay, whatever it is, try to find ways how you will protect from competitors, either now or in the future. Okay, so spend some time in this one. Okay, if you don't have much information here, most likely the judges, they will ask about it. Okay, so you need to be ready to answer this question. Okay, so you always need to be ready to answer the question about your competitors. And then if you don't find any competitors, what you could potentially say is, we have done our research. We haven't found any information yet about competitors, but what we're planning to do is to ask, because you can ask directly potential customers, right? People that fits your persona profile, and they can tell you, I have tried to solve this problem using X, Y, Z. Okay, so when you are interacting with potential customers, it's always good to ask them, how are you solving this problem right now? So the user, it's pretty open to share information about the ways how they're solving problems. And that can give you some understanding about your competitors. Okay, I got a question. Market size and market validation different? Yes, they are different. So market size is how big is your market? How big is the opportunity, let's say, that you are trying to take advantage. Market validation is if you have already started validating your idea in that market, if you have already some proof that the market will respond positively to your solution. So that's why it's more, that's why that's the bottom up, right? So you can say, I already talked to 10 customers, I already have some interviews. You can say I built a prototype, I got positive feedback, I built a landing page, whatever it is that gives you and your business some proof that there is a positive reaction in the market. That's the market validation. Okay, all right. Let's speed it up. So now we got the achievement timeline. Okay, so this one, usually if you have some traction in your business, okay, and it could be anything that has helped you to progress in your business that you can measure, you can show it here. Okay, so it could be if you're already making money, so base it on money. If you already have customers, you can base it on customers. But if you don't have money, you don't have customers, you can do it maybe based on a roadmap of things that you have built, like different features that you have built. But if you don't have yet a product, the only thing that you have is an idea, then my recommendation is to use potential people that you have spoken. So you can say, in the first week, we talked to 10 people. And in the second week, we talked to 20 people. So do that. Okay, so find something, any number, okay, any variable that you can use to show some traction and some progress here. Okay, so it could be anything that will help you to show progress. Okay. Okay, then we go to the team. Okay, so here just explain who is behind the idea. Okay, the team members, the names. If they already have roles for the business, you can mention that. So if you already have, let's say you are going to build the business with these people, you can say, okay, I'm going to be the CEO, he's going to be the CTO, and he's going to be the CFO, whatever role you have. But if you don't have roles yet for the people in your team, you can say he's going to focus in the product, he's going to focus in operations, he's going to focus in marketing. Or you can say his skills are, so he's pretty good at numbers, engineering and design. He's pretty good at negotiating, selling, networking. He's pretty good at project management. He's a pretty good leader. Okay. So try to show here, the advantages, the skills that the team offers. Okay. If you have external people that is not part of the team but helps you, you can also mention them. So for example, mentors, other advisors, some connections that you may have into the industry. So you can also potentially add that. Okay. And the other thing that you could potentially do here is to talk about the achievements that your team members have accomplished in the past. So let's say if some of your team members have won like a recognition in the past, or if you have something to show that they are pretty good at what they do, use it for sure. So for example, when you were saying, okay, he's pretty good at sales, you can say in his previous company, he built a sales team in 1 year and he went from 0 to 1 million revenue for the company, right? So the way to show those achievements is actually with the real numbers. Okay, so you can say this is the proof that that person is pretty good at this. Okay, and then if you have some, big experience about an industry, also mention that. Okay, so you can say collectively we have 20 years of industry knowledge in this specific market. Or you can say, I have worked 5 years in this industry, so I'm bringing that knowledge into the market. I'm bringing connections into the market. I'm bringing already, partnerships into the market. So you can also talk about that. Okay. And the last one, I think the second last one. Okay, the ask. So the ask is pretty much, you need to think about what the next steps for your business are. So think about where you are right now, and then think about 2, 3 next steps. Anything. It could be bringing someone else to the team, launching the first version of the product, building our first marketing campaign, making the first sale. So do this exercise. Think about 3, 4, 5 big next steps for you, and then ask yourself, what do I need to get to the first step? what do I need to get to the second step? What do I need to get to the third step? That is what you're looking for, okay? Either you need human capital, you need the skills, you need money, you need connections, you need introductions, anything you need, this is what you're asking for, okay? So it has to be pretty clear why you're asking for it and how that having those resources will help you to get to that next step, okay? If it's money, what you need, so explain. Let's say I need $1 million. I need it for what? To hire people, to build a product, whatever it is. I need it for marketing, to do a breakdown of the different areas that you will invest that money, okay? So that is the ask. So it could be as simple as an introduction. It could be as simple as follow us in social media. It could be as simple as an introduction to someone else. It could be as simple as go to our website and write a review. It could be anything. It could be anything that you ask, okay? All right, and then the last one is just a thank you. So thank you very much for your time. When you are recording, you just say, thank you, have a great day. That's all. If you're doing a live pitch, you close it in a nice way. Thank you. Now, I'm ready to answer any of your questions, any of the questions that you may have. Okay. So yeah, that's the pitch. We took more time than expected. Okay. So I got 2 minutes. If there is any final question, I'm happy to answer any of those final questions. Give me just 1 second here, because I think this, oh no, it's plugged. Okay, let me see what I got. Jessica, for the achievement, is it fine if we fill it with only one variable? For instance, client acquisition has to go minimum one. If you have one, go for one, okay? Find the most important one. I will say just go for one. Okay, go for one, the most important one that show traction, use it. Okay, so if in that case is a number of clients that you have acquired, just go for that one. I will say just pick one. Then I got Do Yang. In the lean model canvas, there are unique value proposition and unfair advantage. What's the difference? So value proposition is the benefit. Okay, how do you differentiate yourself in terms of the benefit that you're offering to the customer? Okay, and then the unfair advantage is more how you protect yourself from competitors. So remember in the competitors slide, we talk about, identify your position in the market, the different players in the market, and then how do you protect yourself? Okay, that's the unfair advantage. What is the thing that will help you to protect your business? So those things that I was saying, right? So for example, your value proposition could be safety, reliability, happiness, okay? But your unfair advantage could be, I have the intellectual property, so I have a patent, okay? Or I have a partnership with a key player, or I have an expert in my team. Okay, so it's completely different. So one is the benefit that you're offering and how you differentiate with your competitors in offering that benefit. That's the unique value proposition. The unfair advantage is how you protect your business, okay, in that specific market. Okay, 1 last minute. Any final question? Okay, all right. So thank you very much for joining tonight. Okay, if there are more questions, maybe share with the Esaongu team, and then maybe they can address those questions to me, and I can potentially offer some answers to those questions. Okay.
Thank you so much, Luis, for your presentation. Yeah, I hope we can still keep in touch through WhatsApp or Telegram.
For sure.
There are
if
there
they
are
ask
possibilities.
things, if they ask things on Telegram,
Yes,
you
please.
can then share those questions with me.
Yeah, because I believe that some participants might have some questions when they are doing the pitch deck or the video.
For sure, yeah. You can consolidate all the questions. Maybe you can have like a live file. You can consolidate questions, and then I can go there and answer questions.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you for all participants for joining this briefing session. Yeah. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good evening for you, Luis, in Colombia.
Have a good rest of the Wednesday, and I'll see you around.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye.